How's it going, guys? This is Top Down with TCM. I'm one of your hosts, Azaan Barlas. I'm here with Jason and Weston, and today we have a very special guest. He's actually on the same team as me for the IRC competition at our school, and his name is Keiichi Ono. Keiichi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Keiichi Ono. Nice to meet you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your sector and your portfolio and just maybe one cool thing you like about TCM?
So I'm in the communication services sector, like portfolio, like my own portfolio.
No.
So I'm
Sorry.
or yeah, for the TCM.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in the communication services sector, we hold Google, Disney, Activision Blizzard, and Facebook and the TCM equity. And for President Scholars, we have Disney and AT&T right now. And for bonds, we have the Time Warner bond.
Cool. Okay. So I guess I'll ask the first question. Basically, the President Scholars portfolio is for the viewers, it's different than the other two portfolios we have in that it has equities and it has fixed income. So basically my question for Keiichi here is do you feel like it's like slightly more difficult being a portfolio manager of like a mixed portfolio, or like what are your some challenges you've seen managing President Scholars?
I think there's definitely some challenges. One of the challenges is that it's relatively less monetary value compared to the equity. It has around $120,000 compared to like 1.5 million in equity.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to find funds that allow such low amounts. But I think just overall, I enjoy being on the team. It's really great, though.
Cool. Okay. One of you other questions?
Keiichi, now I wanted to mention the Netflix report that you sent up to the board recently. It was a great report, and it does look like the equity team is very interested in buying. Can you tell us a little bit about your investment thesis for that and what sort of revenue drivers there will be for Netflix in the future?
Mm-hmm. So Netflix is obviously one of the biggest streaming companies around. And I think one of the major benefactors for Netflix is how big and massive they are. They use so much money to spend on their content. And as a result, most of their content, they have reputable awards like Grammys and Golden Globes, all kinds of awards, many nominations. So that just kind of shows how great Netflix's content is. And they also have been really expanding out to the rest of the world, especially in Asia and in Europe. They're trying to increase more of their subscribers there. And I think monetization is also really well in these regions. So if Netflix does successfully obtain more users, they'll substantially increase their revenues through their subscription.
So you're seeing is their ability to expand outside of the United States as a big driver for them in the future, or
Yeah.
are you seeing that as more of an opportunity for Netflix to change their content base to actually to reach those potential prospects?
So right now they are focusing on having content geared towards like these specific regions. Particularly, they've been investing a lot in like K-dramas and like, yeah, those kinds of movies which attract more Asian or like Korean, Japanese, just Asian countries that really have an interest in them. And also, I think in India, they started a new subscription, which is based only on like mobile phones, because India has a lot of users that only use their phones. So this is a much cheaper option, and it will actually increase more subscribers that way. And it'll be less for the user as well in India compared to like the other subscriptions.
Okay.
Sounds solid. So adding more to Netflix, my question is, how does Netflix limiting the amount of screens per account affect revenues going forward?
So right now, this is specifically for like the North America region, but they have 3 plans with 1 screen allowed, 2 screen allowed, and 4 screen allowed. So essentially, at the same time, you can only have like up to 4 people watching it on the same account. And that one's the most expensive with around like $15. But I think right now what they're trying to do is they're trying to crack down more on the sharing of platforms with like many people. And I think what they'll do is they'll probably get some backlash, but I think eventually people do still want to enjoy the content that they keep producing. There's a lot of new things they're producing right now, including like Stranger Things and other types of content. So I think overall, more people will actually try to have an incentive to actually create a new account if they kept like having other subscriptions from other people.
And one more question to sort of add on to that, to the Netflix thing. I don't know if Netflix is probably the like number 1 dominator in the streaming platform, like with their competitors versus like Hulu or like HBO Max is coming on, right? Are they under threat from those other streaming platforms, or will they hold like the top spot with those other streaming platforms coming in?
So right now, Netflix has around 100 or 204 million active subscribers, and I think the next most is with Amazon Prime or Prime Videos with around 150 million. But Prime Videos comes with Amazon Prime, so it's not necessarily like competing against. And Disney recently announced 100 million subscribers. But I think when it comes down to it, it'll probably be in the future like 2 or 3 main competitors that just have the majority of subscribers. And I think that Netflix, Amazon, and Disney are all reputable companies that are able to do that. The other platforms have sort of a niche community with certain types of content, like Game of Thrones with HBO. So I think overall the main ones and the success will probably be in like Netflix, and I still do believe they will continue growing.
Okay.
I mean, I know the big risk for Netflix or for the streaming industry as a whole. A lot of new streaming services pop up. We saw Peacock pop up for NBC. We're seeing HBO Max, Disney Plus is a new entrance to the game. We have Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus. Once again, I want to mention that twice because they also got 21st Century Fox's content as well. And my concern is that we might start to see it become like cable, where we're going to see streaming services get bundled together and packaged, and then people will start to move back towards pirating content and getting free content some other way, which makes me think that the industry is starting to mature. We're seeing, who knows if we can see a sustainable growth rate for a company like Netflix. So my question to you is that risk legitimate? Or would there be a way that Netflix could combat that risk if it could potentially be a problem?
So I don't necessarily think that bundles are a bad thing. It just gives the user a lot more content and what they would like to see. And again, Netflix, I think it's really difficult for them to have their content like pirated, especially their Netflix originals. That's just the unique aspect of Netflix that only they have, and you're not able to do any screen sharing on the actual platforms as well. So it's really difficult to pirate that. So I think although it is reaching some sort of maturity, there still is a lot of growth potential, especially in the rest of the world region. Certainly in North America, there has been starting to grow at a relatively lower pace, but I still do believe that the company will continue to expand its product and a variety of content, and hopefully its revenues as well.
So So Keiichi, it's pretty interesting to hear about Netflix and the streaming industry in general. But I kind of wanted to flip the script a little bit. So I wanted to talk a little more about the IRC competition. So I know that we're both team members in the IRC, and we spent a lot of
Yeah.
time and energy. We spent a lot of time and energy in the competition. So basically, what I'm asking is, what did you learn from that experience, and how are you going to use it moving forward to benefit the TCM President Scholars portfolio?
So it's definitely been a lot of time dedicated to the report and the presentation. There's a lot of, it's really important to be able to communicate with others and just be flexible with your time, especially right now when everybody has a busy schedule. They have their internships and full-time schedules. So you just need to be flexible and make sure you always do think about others, not just about yourself. And I think that goes for everything, even with like President Scholars. We currently have 6 members in our group right now, and we're all trying to work together to do one part of our month-to-day report. And obviously, not everything's going to be done at the same time because we all have different schedules. But it's really important just to be able to be mindful of others and just communicate. Make sure that if anybody else needs help, you do step in if you can, and hopefully, if you do need help from others, the others will help you out.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like a lot of being a leader and trying to make everyone like put in like their like equal effort, kind of like communicating to them that they need to equal effort. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's important that everybody does do a share of work. It just helps out the team, and then just gains more importance, I guess, as a whole, and stronger connections overall, I believe.
Cool. Okay. And one thing I wanted to highlight from like our experience in the CFA, like doing that competition, is that like I feel like our paper is really good, and it took a lot of time and effort to make a paper like that. But like I genuinely feel like Keiichi's like one of the best report writers I've seen, like in the way like putting charts together, making things flow with each other. So like I guess my question is like, where did you learn how to do all those like to have all your skills for making good reports? And like why do you enjoy writing reports, and why?
So yeah, reports, I think I've definitely improved over the past year. I wasn't always that great. What I typically do when I do reports is I actually look at examples of previous reports, and then I just try to make it similar in a sense that the formatting looks nice and professional. Because in the end, you just want to make sure that your report looks nice. It doesn't have any grammar mistakes, or the formatting isn't bugged or anything. You just want to make sure that the formatting is clean, and then the reader can understand what you're trying to say. So just reading or seeing other examples definitely help. And in TCM too, we have to write multiple reports. So each time I think I've progressed to become a much better writer as well, and formatting, just making sure everything looks good as well. Did you have another question?
Yeah, basically like
Yeah.
what like what is your favorite part about writing a report?
I think I like doing the research and making sure that the format looks good, because I don't think I'm necessarily like a perfectionist, but I do like to have my content like really nicely organized, make sure everything looks the same formatting. I use the same color highlight or whatever. And I'm really keen on that. Make sure everything looks nice, I guess.
That makes sense. I'm just gonna add onto this real quick. Like, I feel like really good reports kind of resemble something that anyone can read, not just finance majors. So like that's kind of like what I look for as well. And yeah, I've seen that with your reports. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you guys mentioned that you guys had a really good report, and that played into how you guys won. So to the viewers that are watching, and that don't know what we're talking about, Azaan and Keiichi were actually in the CFA LA investment research competition, and they won first place. So that was a really great accomplishment for them and for CSUF. I'll say Fullerton.
Who did they beat? Remind us who they beat.
Right. So they beat out UCLA, USC, all those graduate programs that have investment firms. So a great thing, what they did. So you guys talked about the report and how that was good. But obviously you guys were judged on your presentation because you had to do a presentation on Snapchat, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of distinguished you guys from schools like that? Like, why do you guys think you won?
So we went third place, and afterwards we were able to see the other presentations. And what I saw from the others was that it was nowhere near as close to how we did, like professionally. Some of them, at the end, there's a 10-minute Q&A, and some of them couldn't even answer simple questions, which is really embarrassing for the school and themselves on no basic finance questions. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we did prepare did give us a leg and an advantage. And we also looked at the past previous winner of the CFA IRC, which was Sydney. We observed a lot of what they did, the presentation, how they formatted it. So we kind of made it similar to theirs and made it as professional as possible. And I think that's one of the reasons why we did really well.
Zon, do you have anything to add? Like what kind of distinguished you guys, or what was that about it?
Yeah, I think one thing. So there's a board member. His name is Raymond Goldblatt, and he kind of helped us. A board member for the TCM portfolio, and he basically told us that we should do market research for our presentation, and do a survey and get people's responses and chart them out, see how they look, and try to support our arguments with that. So we did that, and not many other teams did that. How many teams did that? Like maybe one other? I don't even remember. But
only the other TCM team did that.
Oh yeah, so that was very unique, and we didn't even know that the judges would even acknowledge it. But they actually they didn't even ask us a question, or they eventually did, but they said, "Good job. This is a really good thing that you did some market research. It's very interesting." They just looked like they hadn't seen it before. So yeah.
Market research meaning how many, this age bracket uses Snapchat this much, and then this age bracket.
Basic questions to identify whether Snapchat is engaging or if they're able to monetize. And overall, they're not. But
a simple question have you ever bought anything on Snapchat? And most people said no. So that's a really strong argument. Hey, only 2% of people in the certain age range actually bought something. How are they monetizing? Stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're nearing the end of our podcast and your time with us. I just wanted to ask, what do you plan on doing after CSUF? What do you plan on doing after TCM? What's next for Keiichi?
So once I graduate in May, hopefully I do find a full-time position as an analyst or equity research analyst. I do enjoy writing and researching companies. Definitely something that I want to do in the future. I also do plan to take on the CFA in November. So I'll also have to be studying for that as well. And I think after TCM, it's been a very valuable lesson just throughout the whole year, just learning everything. So I'd like to give back in the future whenever I can, if they need help. So I'll try to join and do maybe as a guest speaker or whatever I can, just to help out the other future TCM students. But,
I'm sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Keiichi, so much for being with us. This has been Top Down with TCM. We will see you in the next episode. Goodbye. Yes. Fade to black.